This is note-taking guide 2.4. We're going to multiply complex numbers today. Again, just remember that those two rules that we have at the top, I equals the negative square root of 1 and I squared equals negative 1. So on this note-taking guide right here, if we're looking at this one, that set of parentheses right there is just a typo, so kind of just ignore that. But we're going to do 6i times 3, which gives us 18i. And then we're going to times the 18i by 2i. Well, 18 times 2 is 36. I times I is I squared. So you have 36i squared, but every time we see an I squared, we're going to replace it with a negative 1. That's just the rule. So I squared equals negative 1. So we'll have 36 times a negative 1, and that just becomes negative 36. So our answer on this problem is a negative 36. On this next problem then, this is a FOIL problem. We're going to have to FOIL it out here. So we're going to do 9 times 5, which is 45. 9 times a negative 2i, which is a negative 18i. 2i times 5, which is 10i. And then 2i times a negative 2i, which is a minus 4i squared. We're going to just combine those here in the middle, and then this right here, we're going to have to take that rule into account. We'll have a negative 4 times a negative 1 there, which makes this back part just plus 4. So we'll have 45 plus 4, which is 49, and then add our i's together in the middle. A negative 18 plus 10 would be a negative 8i for my solution. This is another FOIL problem. So we're going to do 3 times 3, which is 9. 3 times a negative I, which is a negative 3i. I times 3, which is plus 3i. And I times a negative I, which is a negative I squared. Again, every time we see the I squared, we're going to change it to a negative 1. So that would be like having a negative 1, which will change that to a plus 1. So 9 plus 1 is 10. And here in the middle, a negative 3i and a positive 3i cancel to be 0 i's. So I have 10 for my solution. This one is a distributive property problem. We're going to do 4 times 3, which is 12. And 4 times 4i, which is 16i. We don't have any I squareds to worry about. We can't combine those together, so we're done right there on this problem. This is just a multiply problem. Negative 4 times 10i would be a negative 40i. No I squareds there to worry about. Can't combine any like terms, so we're done with negative 40i. The last problem is the distributive property problem. We're just going to multiply that through. A negative 3i times 4 would be a negative 12i. And then we have a negative 3i times 9, which would be a negative 27i squared. When we see the I squared, we're going to replace that with a negative 1, so this would be multiplied together. So to rewrite that, we'd have negative 12i, and this becomes plus 27, because a negative 27 times a negative 1 is a positive 27. So this is actually our solution. We should always write it in real plus imaginary form, so I'm going to put that 27 first, subtract the 12i from it for my solution to look like this. Just a point to be made here is I just want to have you notice that every time we square something with the I squared, it just changes the sign in front of the number. It was a negative 27, now it's a positive 27. That I squared always just changes the sign of the number that it's on. Hopefully that will help you get those problems right a little bit easier. Thanks for watching.